I hope you guys are enjoying my series of videos for discontinued fragrances. I think I've got definitely one more planned after this one. This is number 4. Maybe I will do a 6th one as well, and who knows, maybe I will do one focused on specifically on feminine fragrances that are discontinued that I think are worth getting. But in today's video, I've got 15 discontinued fragrances that I think are definitely worth finding and buying. These are fragrances that I enjoy, and I'm going to tell you what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about another 15 discontinued fragrances. Some are recently discontinued, some are older discontinued, some didn't even last, some lasted a long time, but all great scents that were discontinued, and maybe they just fell out of style, maybe they just ran out of the materials. They were not ran out, but they weren't allowed to use some of the ingredients in the fragrances, whatever. But or maybe they were just unsuccessful. Yeah, like nobody was buying them. But all great scents to me. I approve of these fragrances. I'll let you know what they are before I do, though. If this is your first time tuning into my channel and you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Is there a discontinued fragrance that you are a fan of that recently got discontinued? Or I should say, is there a fragrance that you're a fan of that recently got discontinued? Let me know. Put a comment down what that is. And a fragrance maybe you've been a fan of for a long time, it's been discontinued for a long time. What is that? I'd like to find out. I'll continue doing these as much as I can. I do have a ton of discontinued fragrances on my shelves way at the top behind me, and I keep all my vintage and discontinued fragrances up there because they're a little more valuable. As long as I have you know, 15 to fit in a video, I'll continue doing these videos. Who knows? This is number 4, as I said. I have a number 5 planned. There might even be a number 6 and 7 planned as well. Let's get started. The first one I'm talking about is from the house of MAISON Francis Kurkdjian. This is LUMIERE Noir Pour Homme. Where's the writing? Here it is. So LUMIERE Noir Pour Homme is the first MAISON Francis Kurkdjian fragrance I bought back in 2013. It had just launched in 2009, so like 4 years prior. That's when the MAISON Francis Kurkdjian brand had launched. It was selling at Neiman Marcus. It was very exclusive there. Now you can see it everywhere. And I feel like they've gotten rid of a lot of the good stuff, sadly. So this features notes of rose, patchouli, artemisia, cinnamon, and cumin. And what I liked about this one is a very masculine take on rose. It's a combination of the rose with patchouli, a little green touch from that artemisia note, some spice. There's a warmth here, a little bit of cumin touch in here as well. The cumin is definitely not too strong, but it's a great smelling fragrance. Sadly, it got discontinued. This, along with Absolute Pour Le Soir and a pomme, really great fragrances that are no longer in this house. There's also Ciel de Gum that also got discontinued recently. I'm a fan of. Some of the good ones are gone from this house, sadly. But either way, LUMIERE Noir Pour Homme, discontinued. If you can find a bottle, get it. I think it's worth it. This is a very, very fun fragrance. This is a unisex targeted fragrance that was launched in 1998, created by Annick Menardo, and I really, really love this fragrance. It doesn't smell like it used to back then, because back then when it was first out and I was wearing it in the late 90s, early 2000s, definitely had a rubbery kind of smell, like tires. This is BVLGARI Black, created by Annick Menardo in 1998. To me, it also reminded me of something like Midnight in Paris from the house of Van Cleef & Arpels, which is also discontinued. This actually got discontinued after Midnight in Paris got discontinued. I got this bottle around the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, so I knew it was selling back then, but last year I checked, it was no longer selling or available at the discounters. But Annick Menardo created it, as I said. It's got a leather note, it's got green tea, sandalwood, vanilla, amber, musk, oakmoss, cedar, jasmine, rose. It's sad it's gone, but I really love the bottle. The bottle was also different back then. It was kind of like a bottle that twisted like that and it sprayed. They changed it into a cap, but either way, if you can find a bottle, get it. It's a great, I mean, if you can find this fragrance, get it. It's a great bottle. It's definitely nice to have in a collection. At number 3, I was just speaking about this in a recent video for Tom Ford's new release, or upcoming release, Noir Extreme Parfum. I was talking about Noir Anthracite. This was not a success. It was complete failure for this house. And I mentioned in the video, people were complaining about this particular fragrance. I guess they just don't like this kind of a scent. It smells fantastic to me. It smells like a Chypre. Well, it is a Chypre, I think. Also kind of reminded me a little bit of Halston Z14 and Tom Ford's own Italian Cypress. A really great scent. Launched in 2017 and created by Honorine Blanc. If you don't know her, she did the recent Goldfield & Banks fragrance Sunset Hour. I think she's a pretty darn good perfumer, but this features notes of Sichuan pepper, spices, ebony wood, ginger, cedar, leather, galbanum, sandalwood, patchouli. Such a great release. Complete failure. It came and went so fast. Modern noses didn't appreciate this one, sadly, but I really love this one because it does have those classic touches. Either way, it's Noir Anthracite from 2017, discontinued really quickly. That was the third fragrance I'm talking about. This next one, another Annick Menardo fragrance. Go figure, I've got a couple of Annick Menardo fragrances here. Although this is created with by Annick Menardo along with Olivier Cresp, both perfumers I'm a fan of. Launched in 2011 for the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. It's KOKORICO, this one. Do you guys know this one? This was, to me, an easier accessible fragrance to something like L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme Extreme. To me, this was much more readily available, especially at the discounters for around 35, 40, 50 bucks. And Lidge, or L'Instant de Pour Homme Eau Extreme, was really difficult to get. And there was not any discounts available for it. And if you found it like at places like Amazon, it would be like around $130, $140. So this was kind of an alternative to me, but a complete different alternative because Lidge uses that cacao note. This is also cacao. This also has a very unique fig leaf note. And the combination is amazing. Fig leaf with cacao, match made in heaven. It works really, really great to me here. It's a dry experience. It's a powdery experience. And Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrances, powdery makes sense, right? So this was a very, very unique fragrance to me, and I loved it. Fig leaf, cacao, patchouli, vetiver, Virginia, cedar. One more thing, the patchouli in here also, the fact that Lidge, L'Instant de Guerlain Pour Homme Extreme, or Eau Extreme, had the patchouli as well. It was citruses, it was star anise, it was cacao, and it was patchouli. And this, to me, it was the cacao and the patchouli with figs. So it was a different take on kind of a similar fragrance. A great scent, sadly gone. I never did the night version of this fragrance. I wish I did. I love KOKORICO. KOKORICO was a great scent. I absolutely loved it. And sadly, it's gone no longer. Next fragrance we're talking about is from the house of Guerlain. This is Cologne du 68 from 2006. So they launched an eau de parfum version of this particular fragrance that went into the L'Art et la Matière collection. I don't know if it's still available in the brand new L'Art et la Matière collection, but this to me was a great fresh powdery fragrance experience. So yummy. It was delicious. It was very, very citric and also floral, but also that powderiness from the iris in here just made for a very unique take on a citrus fragrance. It's created by Sophie Labbé. Like I said, it's from 2006, and there is the eau de parfum version of it. I just don't remember if it made it into the brand new L'Art et la Matière collection of fragrances, but it features notes of citruses, iris, linden blossom, sage, petitgrain, orange blossom, frangipani, rosemary, bergamot. So it's lots of different flowers and citruses and herbs and aromatics and iris together. It smelled fantastic. It was a very, very unique fragrance to wear in the summertime. And I think this got discontinued around the time that the eau de parfum or the L'Art et la Matière version of this came out. I don't think they smell similar. I think it lost something. The brightness is not there in the current version. Either way, Cologne du 68 from the house of Guerlain. What a wonderful fragrance that was. Sadly, it's gone. Moving on to the house of Maison Margiela, it's Soul of the Forest. So Maison Margiela launched 5 more upper scale, kind of like Middle Eastern or, like a private blend kind of a collection of fragrances. Not private blend, but you know what I'm talking about. Those all got discontinued, and this is one of them. This was a creation by Quintin Biche, and it was a very green forest, pine and balsam and things like that kind of an experience. And I liked it because there was this kind of like a forest walk in the, like a walk in the forest experience. And you're walking and there's this little bush of berries growing, so you get the aroma of the forest, and then the berries or the fruitiness of the berries comes through. It's a great scent. It's balsam fir, atlas cedar, black currant, incense, patchouli, labdanum, maple sap. A little sweetness, a little fruitiness, but it's all very green, earthy, woody, and ambery experience. It was a great scent. Sadly, it's gone. So it's Soul of the Forest from the house of Maison Margiela. Sadly, it's discontinued. The next fragrance is a great release from the house of Viktor and Rolf. I just posted about this on Instagram. I was able to get a half bottle antidote right here. Sadly, it was a little beat up, and it got cleaned up pretty nicely, and it's half a bottle. I got it for 25 bucks. I think I scored on this one. This is a creation by Aliénor Massenet along with Pierre Wargnaye. And to me, this is kind of like a fougere, warm amber fougere, lightly hinting at something like Gucci's Envy. There's a little bit of a reminder, like a lavendery take on Gucci's Envy, but it's such a great scent. It's a really, really great fragrance. It was discontinued, I think, around the time I started, doing videos, fragrance reviews, but launched in 2006, featuring lavender, cinnamon, cardamom, mint, incense, vanilla, nutmeg, jasmine, amber. So there's definitely warmth and woodiness in here. And for some reason, like I said, it reminds me of Gucci Envy for men, of course. And Gucci Envy was sandalwood and ginger. I don't see sandalwood and ginger listed here, but there's definitely a reminder in there. But it's a great scent. It's Viktor & Rolf Antidote. Great scent. Moving on to the house of Diptyque, it's Hommage. Hommage is here. I have the second version of Hommage, not as good as the original Hommage, in a bottle that looks like 34 Boulevard Saint Germain collection of fragrances. They updated it and they moved it into like a more of an exclusive collection, which also includes Benjuan Bohème. By the way, if you're looking for Benjuan Bohème, it's available. Still hard to get, but they've been kind of slowly rolling out bottles. But this is Hommage. Again, not as good as the original Hommage, but this is a really great type of molecular kind of musky notes that's quite sexy. It's created by Fabrice Pellegrin, originally launched in 2011 and I believe brought back in 2015. So in 2011, the bottle that looks like the Boulevard Saint Germain fragrances bottle in gray black, and then they brought it in here, and it features notes of ambroxan, cumin, cashmeran, rose oxide, spices, and musk. So it's very, very musky, a little rosy, definitely amber, woody, definitely musky comes up quite a bit with this one, and also maybe very, very lightly kind of aquatic. It's a great scent. I'm glad to have this, especially since it's discontinued, hardly used. But I would love to find a bottle of the original in the gray bottle, because it's fantastic smelling fragrance, the Hommage in the original. This'll do fine for me, but the original is super, super amazing. Anyway, Hommage from the house of Diptyque. A great scent. If you can find it, get it. And if you can find the gray bottle, do let me know because I want it. Alright, moving on to the house of Elie Saab. It's Queer Bourbon, this one right here. So Elie Saab's private collection of fragrances never really made it here to the States. I didn't find them at any stores, like the department stores that you can walk into, but they did make it to all of the discounters, or a lot of the discounters. I brought this and Queer Ylang back from Paris when I was there, and I got to visit the Grand Museum of Perfume, which is no longer there. It opened in Paris. It was there for a year, and it was gone. I learned about this particular fragrance and the entire collection in these black bottles from Elie Saab at that museum. So I had to get the Queer Bourbon and the Queer Ylang. I don't know if they're still available. I think they're very, very rare if you can find them. But created by Francis Kurkdjian, because he created a lot of the Elie Saab fragrances. It features notes of bourbon vanilla, suede, saffron, and musk. It's so delicious, guys. It smells like a smoky vanilla, very, very smoky. You can actually smell the beans. Like, if you've taken the bean and you kind of scraped it and get the seeds, if you've ever smelled that, this smells just like it. It's buttery, it's rich, it's vanillic. The smell of the vanilla in here is just intoxicating. And then you've got that kind of buttery suede leather in here as well. Musk and a little bit of saffron to give it a little bit of a Middle Eastern kind of a experience. It's a really, really great scent. Sadly, it's discontinued. It's Queer Bourbon from the house of Elie Saab. That launched in 2016, by the way, and it was created by Francis Kurkdjian. He's done a lot of great fragrances. This next fragrance is from the house of Cartier. It's Roadster Sport. Recently ended up getting a bottle for about 40 bucks. I knew it's discontinued. I know it's discontinued. I really did not care for the original Cartier Roadster. Something about that fragrance rubbed me the wrong way. I think the mint in it just did not work for me. I'm a big fan of mint. Love the herb, eat it. Really, really good stuff. Drink the tea. That mint in that fragrance didn't really work for me. It smelled really bad. At least for me it did when I first tried it. But it's been discontinued for a while. And then Roadster Sport, on the other hand, is a great, fresh, invigorating kind of a take on Roadster. It didn't remind me of the original whatsoever. It's also kind of missing that mint note, which is thankfully not here because it might have gone really bad. But this is a fragrance launched in 2009, and I think it got discontinued around 2015, somewhere around there, maybe a little earlier too. I can't find a perfumer for this. Perhaps it's created by Mathilde Laurent, the in-house perfumer over at Cartier. But it's bergamot, mandarin orange, orange flower, rosemary, sage, patchouli, black pepper, gaiac wood. It's very, very fresh, it's invigorating, it's refreshing, and a perfect summer fragrance. Yeah, if you can find a bottle, get it. It's Roadster Sport from the house of Cartier. I am not the biggest sport fragrance fan, but that was actually really, really great. It smells fantastic. Moving on to the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is Traversée du Bosphore. Anybody know this one? Traversée du Bosphore was recommended to me by someone that I had met online in the fragrance community way back in 2013 or 2012. I've had a bottle, and I also have a backup bottle of this because somebody got rid of a bunch of L'Artisan fragrances recently, and I got 3 of them. So I have a backup of this backup, thankfully. This to me smells like Turkish Delights and kind of very, very powdery and rosy. So if you like the idea of rose Turkish Delights, definitely try something, try and find this one. But it also has a leathery experience. It launched in 2010, and it's created by Bertrand Duchaffoul. He's a great, great perfumer. I really love the stuff he does. Really complex and unique fragrances, totally original, not clone-ish whatsoever. I don't want to, you know, he does original fragrances that actually smell really great, and this is one of the ones that smells really, really great. It's leather, red apple, lochum, which is the Turkish Delights, the sweet stuff that this is actually inspired from, sugar, iris, honey, pistachio, and spices. Really a delicious, unique gourmand fragrance. If you can get a bottle, get it. If you love gourmands like me, you gotta have this one. It's not necessarily uber gourmand, but it is there. You know, it's got this gourmand qualities to it. It's so delicious. Traversée du Bosphore from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. Really, really great fragrance. Moving on to the house of YSL Yves Saint Laurent. This is not the Le Vestiaire collection, and I'm actually praying this will end up in the Le Vestiaire collection. It has not yet. It's the collection that was prior to the Le Vestiaire collection, this collection, and this is Noble Leather. This is a fragrance launched in 2013. It's created by Julie Massé. This to me was the alternative to Tuscan leather, and it was like this dried fruity experience with the leather, and it was a match made in heaven. So you experience apricots, you experience perhaps plums, nectarines, peaches, and it's contrasted with this really, really soft, smooth leather note, and the combination is really, really intoxicating. It got discontinued. A lot of this whole collection got discontinued, and it moved into the Le Vestiaire collection. This one never did. Was it not successful? I'm smelling it now. It smells fantastic, but leather, dried fruits, vanilla, patchouli, amber, so good. This stuff is amazing. If you can get your hands on it, if I can get another bottle, that would be great as well, because I don't have too much of this. I mean, I got probably like a 2/3 of a bottle, not even that, maybe just half a bottle. But either way, it's YSL Noble Leather, a great scent. I really love that fragrance. Sad it's discontinued. All right, this next fragrance is from the house of Parfums de Marly. Sad this one got discontinued. It was completely the underhyped fragrance from this house. No one ever talked about it, but it was actually a great, great offering. I don't know why anybody talked about it, but it's Byerly from 2014. Can't find a perfumer for this one, but if you like the idea of a very smoky leather with a kind of a creamy gaiac wood in the background with some ambery touches, and then of course some citruses, this is definitely a really, really great smelling vetiver fragrance. It's vetiver, cardamom, bergamot, cedar, resins, gaiac wood. It's a great scent. Nobody really paid attention to this particular fragrance. It was a very, very quality fragrance. Everybody talked about Carlisle, Herod, Leighton exclusive, but this stuff was really, really great. Sadly, it's discontinued now. And then it kind of looks like the bottle of their new fragrance that was a Harrods exclusive. I'm drawing a blank with the name. The color of the, although the other green is a little lighter, but either way, Byerly, rest in peace, because it's a great smelling fragrance. This next one, I think maybe it launched as a limited edition. It's from the house of Aramis. It's Tobacco Reserve. This is a really, really great smelling fragrance from this house. Absolutely a great quality offering. It is so yummy. You can actually experience the leafiness, but the dryness and the pungency of the tobacco leaf in here, along with this nuttiness and a little, you know, like a tonka beans note is in here, so there's this kind of like bitter almond-like quality, but so there's a sweetness there, but also it has an accord of tobacco, so it kind of matches the tobacco-ish, because there's definitely a little smokiness in here, and there's definitely very leafiness in here as well. Launched in 2018, discontinued really quickly. I think it discontinued in 2020 because I remember seeing this on Macy's.com. Created by Edward Fleischer. He did such a great job with this one. But either way, tonka beans, tobacco leaf, oak moss, nutmeg, orris, clary sage, blackcurrant. Light fruitiness, very, very light. Definitely has a powdery quality, aromatic, and spicy, but really delicious. This is absolutely one of the best tobacco fragrances. Sadly, it's discontinued. Anyway, Aramis Tobacco Reserve. If you have a bottle, that's great. If you can find a bottle, that's even better. And then the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today is from the house of Valentino, before they went over to frickin' L'Oreal, because now they're releasing just junky fragrances, boring as heck. This particular fragrance from the Uomo collection was the third flanker, or maybe the fourth, and it smelled completely different than any of the other Uomo fragrances. Again, this is under Puig, not under L'Oreal, which is currently releasing these like weird smelling like yellow whatever the heck that fragrance is, flanker is. But this Noir Absolu, really a good job. Once again, we're talking about Sophie Labbe, who had created this fragrance for Guerlain in 2006. This is 2017. I think Sophie Labbe works for IFF, if I'm not wrong. Either way, sandalwood, cinnamon, incense, olibanum, black pepper. The combination is great. It's very sexy. Completely different than the other Uomo. Completely different. There was no iris here. It doesn't have an iris-like quality. Very, creamy sandalwood. A little spicy there. A lightly smoky. And then, of course, it's got just a little bit of that kind of like resinous experience. It reminded me of a fragrance by Orloff Paris. The first drop of the Orloff Paris fragrance is all created by Dominique Ropion. They redid all those fragrances, and I think they had a fragrance called Star of the Season. And Dominique Ropion is also an IFF perfumer, so I wonder if Sophie Labbe and Dominique Ropion were trading ideas. But this reminded me of that fragrance. But that fragrance completely was redone. They redid that whole collection, the first drop of the Orloff Paris fragrances. I don't know what happened with those. But anyway, if you can get your hands on Uomo Noir Absolu from Valentino, it's a really great designer fragrance. Really great. Anyway, that's the last fragrance for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Are you fans of these fragrances? Are you one that you've been looking for these? Or is there anything else that you've actually been eyeing? If you are curious to watch more of these videos, I have 3 more. You can go catch them. I have a playlist of them. You can just watch them one after another. And each video features 15 fragrances and a couple of bonuses. And I've got a bonus for you here as well. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And finally, this particular fragrance has bit the dust. It's discontinued. I think you can still find stock out there, but Penhaligon's The Impudent Cousin Matthew, completely gone. I did a review of this one, and this is a Mandarin Orange, Petitgrain, and Patchouli combination created by Alberto Morillas. Really great fragrance. Smells fantastic. Very green, very citrusy. And of course a little, earthy woody as well, but it smells like, juicy citruses and, like squeezing not only the juicy juice of the citruses, but also crushing the leaves and, sometimes the branches of the citrus tree as well. But it smells really great. Sadly, it's discontinued. I don't know if there's stock out there. I put my notes together before I left to Europe, as I had just found out that it was discontinued. If you can get yourself a bottle, get it. But it's The Impudent Cousin Matthew. Sadly, it's discontinued. Penhaligon's is discontinuing a lot of fragrances. I don't know what's going on. Penhaligon's and L'Artisan as well. A lot of fragrances get dropped, launched, and then they don't do well and they're discontinued. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.